Hey guys, I'm back with a new story called What If Naruto Was the Reincarnation of Indra, Ashura and Hagoromo Part 1. This is a series I came up with myself, so please let me know if you like it, and like and subscribe, it motivates me to keep doing these. Thanks. This story would take place on October 10th, where a certain redhead was giving birth. Damn you Minato, this all your fault. Just a few more pushes. Kushina, it's almost over. As she pushes one more time, the sound of a baby cry was heard throughout the room. Congratulations, it's a healthy baby boy, one of the nurses would say as we then take a closer look at the child. He had a mop of blonde hair as bright as the sun and blue eyes like the ocean. This was Naruto Uzumaki, the baby that in the future would become a legend throughout the shinobi world. Minato and Kushina, who was completely exhausted and barely awake, were eager to hold their newborn son. But before anything could happen, a swirling vortex appeared, and out came a man with a all-black cloak and a mask. The unknown man would take Naruto and place paper bombs on Naruto and toss him in the air, where in a flash Minato would grab Naruto and remove the paper bombs and teleport a safe distance away. Everything would go the same as canon up until the ceiling, where Minato just finished the last hand signs. Soon the Shinigami appeared. Why did you summon me, mortal? Please Shinigami-sama, seal 50% of the Kyuubi chakra in me and the other half in Naruto. The Shinigami would look at Minato and ask, you know the price for me doing this, right? Yes, I'm fully aware and agree with the deal. The Shinigami would begin to do the ritual. He would then look at the small child and would be shocked seeing the sage and his two sons' chakra clinging to Naruto and would say to himself, so they all came together and reincarnated in this child. His future will be interesting. Once the Shinigami finished the sealing, he disappeared as Minato and Kushina collapsed and fell dead. We the time skip 5 years, where we can see a 5-year-old Naruto running from a mob that was throwing rocks and sticks at him. This was nothing new. Since Naruto was 3, he always was beaten and received hatred from everyone in the village. He never understood why they hated him so much. Get back here, demon, one of the villagers said today. That demon dies for killing my dad, another said. Naruto ran and got cornered at the dead end of an alley. When all the villagers caught up with him, they all gained evil grins. Nowhere to run now, demon, tonight will be your end. As they began to beat him, some hitting him with rocks and sticks. After a few minutes, Naruto was badly beaten, bleeding all over his face, bruises all over his body. Now is time to end the demon for good. Naruto would look up and see a few chunin that were among the crowd throw kunais at him. But before the kunais could hit him, his eyes would flash red, where we could see a tomo in both eyes as he dodged the kunais at the last second and would pass out. A Anbu in a dog mask would jump down in front of the beaten Naruto and run off the mob and pick up Naruto and take him to the hospital. Meanwhile, with Naruto, he woke up in a sewer-like place with pipes. He got up and curiously followed to where the pipes lead. He soon reached a huge cage with a paper tag that said seal on it. He slowly walked closer to the cage but froze when he saw 2 blood-red eyes with slits slowly open and look at him. Who are you? Naruto stuttered out. The subject would stand and come closer to the light, revealing itself being a huge fox with 9 swaying tails. Naruto just stared in awe. The fox began to speak in his deep voice. I am the 9-tailed fox, also known as the Kyuubi no Yauko. Naruto would come out as shock and say, hey, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, would you like to be my friend? The fox was shocked, never been offered such a proposal. You're not scared of me? asked the fox curiously. Naruto would respond, saying, nope, actually I think you're really cool. Well, sure kid, I must say you are the first to never be afraid of me. Naruto would give his signature smile and ask, by the way, what's your real name? I mean, people call you the Kyuubi, but I feel that you have a real name. The fox was stunned. This child was the first to ask for his real name. He thought about it for a second and decided to trust the kid, since he was the first to ever treat him as someone instead of an abundance of chakra to be used to do people's bidding. The fox would respond and say, my name is Kurama. Naruto would smile and say, good to meet you, Kurama. They were about to continue chatting until they heard a chuckle. You still are truly kind, Kurama. The fox would recognize the voice and say, father, is that you? Is it really you? As we see 4 figures approaching them, the first person to come out from the shadows was a young man with brown hair that went down to his back. This person was Indra Otsutsuki, the founder of the Uchiha clan. The next to come from the shadows was another young man similar to the first, but instead of his hair running down his back, his had 1 pigtail tied on each side of his face. This person is Ashura Otsutsuki, the founder of the Senju clan. And the last 2 people who also appear, one being an old man with purple eyes and a staff with magatamas and a white cloak. This person is Hagoromo, the sage of the 6 paths, the one who gave chakra to the world, and on his side was a floating figure with a dagger in his mouth and a white robe and looked dead with dark black eyes. This being was known as the Shinigami, the death god. They all approached Naruto and Kurama. Father, what are you doing here? We came to give our power to the child of prophecy, whom he asked. A confused Naruto. Yes, responded Hagoromo. You see, I have realized how foolish it was to give humans chakra. You see, I never died completely. My spirit still roamed the earth for thousands of years, and for thousands of years I watched as humans took the chakra that I gave them to spread peace and help each other throw it away on wars and power seeking, and also how they took all of my children and forcefully sealed them into people, making them Jinchuricus and using them as nothing but weapons. So this is why me and my sons choose you as our reincarnation. We will give you our power and abilities and train you for a while, and eventually when we have to go, I leave the world to you. You can destroy it or fix it in your image. I've tried long enough. Naruto was shocked from all this information, but before he could say anything, Indra put his hands on Naruto's eyes and said, I will give you the Sharingan and Manjukyu Sharingan, and don't worry about going blind. Once you unlock the Manjukyu, you won't go blind from using any abilities. Also, the difference between my Sharingan and other Uchihas is due to inheriting my chakra and power. Yours will be more stronger and superior even to Madara's. Also, your Manjukyu will have all Manjukyu abilities, and you can use the Izanagi and Izanami without having to sacrifice your eyes. Next, Ashura stepped up and put his hands on Naruto's shoulder and said, I will give you all my powers and abilities. You will gain the wood style like the first Hokage Hashirama. You will also receive my regeneration, which is faster, and it's better than the Kyuubis, which Kurama would snort at. That Hagoromo would chuckle and step forth and say, I will give you my Rinnegan and my Sharingan and healing. This will just stack onto the abilities and powers my sons just gave you, making them stronger. Also, I will give you 6 paths Sage mode with some armor and gunbi for you to use in the future. And lastly, the Shinigami stepped up and said, I will give you a summoning contract where you can summon me. Also, I will infuse my power into this sword. As he handed a sword to Naruto, the blade was black as night and the handle was white as snow, and on the blade was the word Reaper in cursive on it. Naruto would have stars in his eyes while admiring the blade. The Shinigami would say, this blade is special. You can use all elements with this sword, and you can also extract and trap the soul of a person in the blade, which you can send to me. Naruto said thank you to them, but now that we have gave you our powers, it's time for you to wake up and we will start your training tomorrow, said Hagoromo. So Naruto would leave his mind space. When he opened his eyes in the real world, he saw the third Hokage Hiruzen sitting by his bed. When the old man saw Naruto awake, he gained a smile. I'm happy you're okay. Naruto would sit up and realize all his injuries were all healed, even the scares that were deep and he thought were permitted were all gone. This is due to Ashura giving him his healing power along with the Sage. Hiruzen noticed this but didn't pay it no mind since he guessed it was the Kyuubi. Naruto would look at Hiruzen and ask, Gigi, why do people call me a demon and hold such hatred towards me? Naruto said, pretending to be sad, but he already knew why. He just wanted to see if the old man loved him enough to tell him the truth. Hiruzen would gain a sad look and say, people fear what they don't understand, but he would switch the subject and say, how about I take you for some ramen? The blonde perked up at that and gained a big grin as he grabbed the old man's hand and eagerly dragged him to the ramen stand. The old man just chuckled to himself and said, at least after all that he has been through in the village, he is still the same ramen loving Naruto. They soon arrived at the ramen stand. Tucci would come out happy to see his favorite customer, and the Hokage Tucci would say, hey Naruto, Lord Hokage, how is day going and what can I get for you? We are doing good. Hiruzen would respawn, I just came to treat Naruto today and I will take 1 bowl of ramen please. All right, and for you Naruto, I'll take 25 bowls of ramen please, he said with his foxy grin. Hiruzen, upon hearing the blonde's order, had a bead of sweat roll down face, knowing that the blonde was going to put a dent in his wallet. Tucci left to get their order. He soon returned with their meal and they sat and ate. After about 20 minutes, Hiruzen walked him home and went back to his office knowing he had mountain high of paperwork waiting for him. Back with Naruto, he entered his small apartment, if you could even call it that. It was the size of a living room. He often seen rats running about and had graffiti on his walls saying demon and mean and hateful things from the villagers. The old man would give him allowance every month, but it was just barely enough to get by. Nearly at every store in the village he wasn't welcome, and in the ones he was overcharged for anything he bought. Naruto flopped down on his bed thinking about the people he met and the power he received. He was pretty eager to train and become strong since Naruto never socialized and did things kids did at his age, like playing and spending time with family. He read books that he would find in the trash and that the old man would give him. He knew about Madara, Uchiha and Hashirama, the founders of the village, and that they were held as gods in their prime and about the fourth Hokage and his deeds in the war against a hidden stone that gained him the name Yellow Flash, so that inspired him to want to become a shinobi, but not just any shinobi, the strongest shinobi in the world. After a while Naruto fell asleep. The next day Naruto woke up early in the morning around 5. He visited his mindscape, where the sage told him he would make a powerful shadow clone to fill his place for some years, and that he would return at the end of the academy. Naruto eagerly nodded and went to a hideout that was at the edge of Fire Country. This would be the place they would train for the next few years. Naruto would arrive at the hideout around 8 and began to unload all of his things. After he was settled in, he went into an open clearing and sat in a meditative position and entered his mindscape where the sage and his sons were waiting for him. They then instructed Naruto how to make a clone for the muse to be in a physical. To train him, Naruto did as instructed and created 3 clones. Soon the sage and the brothers were standing in front of him. "Are you ready for your training?" said Indra with an evil smile. Naruto gulped and knew these years were going to be hell for him. Time skip. It has been 6 years since Naruto left for his godly training. He shunshin in his apartment and dispelled his clone. He got a huge headache from all of the information and memories. After about 10 minutes the headache went away. Naruto said to himself, nothing has changed. Everyone still thinks him a demon and an idiot, but the villagers no longer try to attack me. Naruto also got the memories of how Itachi slaughtered his whole clan and only leaving Sasuke alive. The rumor was that he did it to test his power, but Naruto learned the real truth while he was training with Indra. Flashback. Indra was training Naruto in the Sharingan. They stopped to take a break. They sat near a river. Naruto noticed a sad and disappointed look on Indra's face. Is something wrong? Naruto asked, a little worried. Over time Naruto came to look and Indra his brother as family since he didn't have one growing up. He was informed about who his heritage. Naruto was angry that the old man always lied to him, saying he didn't know who his parents were, but he later understood his reasons due to the amount of enemies his father and mother had. Indra began to tell Naruto all about the Uchiha clan massacre and why it happened. Naruto, after hearing everything, swore that one day he would make the elders pay, mainly Danzo Shimura. Indra told him all about the dirt. Danzo is involved in everything from the stolen Sharingans to him still having Root under his command and his deals with Orochimaru. Naruto was disgusted with all he heard and began to train even harder. End of flashback. Naruto shook his head in disappointment and how Sasuke turned out. Due to him being the last loyal Uchiha, everyone kissed his feet and he was treated like a king in the village, and he became extremely arrogant and full of hatred. His only goal was to kill Itachi. Naruto sat on his bed and thought about tomorrow because it was the day for graduation, and if he passed he would become a genin. Naruto scoffed at that he was far stronger than any of them. Note, I will tell you some of Naruto's abilities and powers. He has the fully matured Sharingan and Manjukyu Sharingan and has mastered them both. Naruto has Kumui, but he doesn't have a time limit on how long he can stay intangible. Also he has Kotomatsukami and can use this on multiple people at the same time, and of course there is no limit on many times he can use it. Also he has Tsukiyomi, but instead of being able to trap someone for 3 days he can trap them for a year, and in the real world it would be only 10 seconds. He has also mastered Amaterasu and many other abilities along with perfect Susanoo that is 3 times bigger than Madara's. He mastered Woodslide that is on par with Hashirama and Sage Mode, and he is halfway done with fully mastering all of the abilities of the Rinnegan. But strangely his Rinnegan was different from the Sage. His had 6 Tomo in each eye. He also got a dragon summoning contract from the Sage and a fox contract from Kurama, and he was planning on learning Dragon and Fox Sage Mode in the near future. And lastly he mastered 6-path Sage Mode, and Naruto in the last 6 years has changed completely. His hair reached his upper back and a bang covered his left eye. He resembled Madara just with blonde hair that was a little shorter than his, but in a few years it would be the same in length. His body was shredded and ripped, but not buff, and he was taller. He wore black pants with black shinobi sandals with a black jacket with gloves that had the Uzumaki swirl on them. End of note. Naruto laid down and went to sleep knowing he had a long day tomorrow. Alright guys, that's all for part 1. Please like, comment and subscribe. It will give me motivation to continue this story. Thanks and take care.